they are together called as. So as I said, there is a very thin line of differentiation between small enterprise or medium enterprise or micro enterprise, where there lies a very thin line of difference. So what is that? We'll see. In case of manufacturing enterprises and in case of, so this classification is in case of manufacturing You just give me 1 minute. I guess one slide is not visible. Let me check that. So classification of enterprises in case of manufacturing, where actually the production is taking place. Is the slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we are classifying the enterprises as micro, small, and medium, where the manufacturing or the production is taking place. So what are micro enterprises? Is the one in which the investment in plant and machinery does not exceed 25 lakhs. This is called as micro enterprise. Small enterprise in which the investment in plant and machinery is more than 25 lakhs but does not exceed 5 crores. So such enterprises are called as small enterprises, where plant and machinery में जो investment होती है that can be more than 25 lakhs but should be less than 5 crores. And medium is investment in plant and machinery is more than 5 but does not exceed 10 crores. Now this is happening in case of manufacturing enterprises. In case of service enterprise, micro enterprise is one in which investment in plant and machinery does not exceed 10 lakhs. Now in service enterprises, the production is not taking place. Imagine a boutique or a spa or tours and such offices, tourism services, tour operators होते हैं उनके offices. So it's a micro enterprise in which the investment in plant and machinery, if it does not exceed 10 lakhs. So where I am expending actually in service in case of service enterprises, maybe the setup of the land or the layout of my office, the setup and the related machinery. Maybe it could be your laptop or it could be other machines. When I'm talking about spa or a salon, the machines which they use, the chair which they have, and the related things. If that investment is, if it does not exceed 10 lakhs, then those are called as micro enterprises. Small enterprises are one in which the investment in plant and machinery is more than 10 lakhs but does not exceed 2 crores. Medium enterprise is in which the investment in plant and machinery is more than 2 crores but does not exceed 5 crores. So there is a limitation in terms of investments in plant and machinery, and also depending on whether it is a manufacturing unit or a service unit, the definitions are changing, the terminologies are changing. So remember the upper limit carefully, and whether service enterprise hai ya manufacturing enterprises, accordingly the definition is changing. Then what are ancillary units? Ancillary units, these units provide inputs to other industries. These are engaged in the manufacturing of parts. So ancillary units are basically the ऐसा बोलते the finished product of one industry. The ancillary units becomes the raw material for another industry. For example, I'm a cafe owner, and I get supply of bread or the pizza basis from a particular bakery. So that bakery becomes an ancillary unit for me because they are providing this basic input for me. I'm a cafe owner, cafe runner, and I require such raw material. Now their finished product is my raw material. Understanding? So these are engaged in the manufacturing of parts, components, light engineering products like cycles, sewing machines, diesel engines, machine tools, electrical applications. Now, this point is telling us about whom we call as ancillary units. So these are engaged in manufacturing. So ancillary units are engaged in manufacturing. If services they are rendering, then those are not called as ancillary units. So maybe service providers like Naukri.com cannot be called as ancillary unit, though for them they are supplying the inputs, that is the human inputs, to the other industries, many other places, but then those are not called as ancillary units. It only is applicable in case of manufacturing organizations. So ancillary units are engaged in manufacturing parts, small parts, जैसे ball bearings होते हैं, those metal sheets, पतरा जिसको again बोलते हैं. So these are some minute parts, or some basic items बोलेंगे, parts, components. Then light engineering products like cycles, sewing machines, diesel engines, machine tools. So ancillary units are also involved in manufacturing such light engineering products like sewing machines or cycles, which do not require some heavy kind of manufacturing and long manufacturing process, or we can say complex manufacturing process and all. Then diesel engines, machine tools, and electrical applications. The investment in plant and machinery should not exceed 5 crores. So for an ancillary unit, the investment in plant and machinery is up to 5 crores or less than 5 crores. Then what are EOU, export oriented unit? Export oriented units are those SSI units, small scale industrial units, which export at least 30% of its annual production by the end of third year of commencement of the product. I start my manufacturing and I do very well in this business. So what do? I think of now expanding. So in process of expanding, I crack a deal, I get an export order. So what do? I fulfill that export order by shipping the goods out of my country. But if I'm in first year of my production commencement, since first year I'm into the business and I have started exporting, I might not be termed as an export oriented unit, because I have to fulfill this criteria of exporting at least 30% of its annual production by the end of third year of commencement of the production. If I do it in the first year, if I do it more than 50% or 60%, then I am not an export oriented unit. I may be called as something else, which we don't have to study right now. For us to know what is an export oriented unit is the one who exports at least 30% of its production by the end of third year of commencement of the production. So such units are called as export oriented units. Now what we are going to see out of the characteristics, objectives, advantages, disadvantages, what problems are faced by MSME and the subsidy which are offered for MSME. So characteristics of MSMEs: medium, small, micro, small, and medium enterprises. They are generally organized and run by individual entrepreneurs. These MSMEs are the founder member is the individual entrepreneur. They require less capital. We have seen the capital requirement. from manufacturing as well as from service point of view. How much capital is required, we have already seen. They are fundamentally labor intensive units, facilitating greater utilization of manpower. So these units, MSMEs, are basically labor intensive unit. They require or they are dependent on the laborers. They require, जैसे बोला, in manufacturing you require people to run the machines. So these are MSMEs are labor intensive units who facilitate greater utilization of manpower. Though we have machines, but then we require people to run those machines. So greater utilization of this manpower it takes place at the MSME end. It involves the use of simple technology, intensive utilization of individual skills, leading to professional specialization. So they require or they make use of simple technology. Though the machines are there, but then after the installation, the job of the other laborers is to just run those machines. So it sometimes calls for the use of simple technology, but then it requires intensive utilization of individual skills. How well I am at particular thing. Based on that, whether I will be employed in small scale or let's say small enterprises or medium enterprises depends. So I need to have, if I have to work here or if I have to start my unit, I should be having these individual skills leading to professional specialization. For example, I was working in I was working as carpenter. Suppose for many years I was working as carpenter. I know how to make TV units or maybe the shutters or doors or other units as well. So now I'm an expert in that, and one day I feel that I should start my own shop where I can take orders and even I can do this, or I can give this carpentry skills. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Fine. So with this hope, I begin with my own venture. So here what is happening, investment and all, from that criteria, I may be called as small enterprise whose capital investment and the labor which I'm employing here, no, I fulfill all that criteria. But then what is happening, it is such a labor intensive unit, and I need to have some specialized individual skills as a carpenter. So when I employ people, I may be having some people who are not very good at the carpentry, but then this is how my business is, that some basic skills, how to run the lathe machine and how to take measurement, how to cut that ply, and how to work on how to carve the wood, such skills are definitely required for a person to get employed at my enterprise. So these MSMEs, they involve the intensive utilization of individual skills leading to professional specialization. They enter the individual tastes and fashions and render personalized service to consumers. So these MSMEs, they are basically catering to individual tastes and fashions as per the client's requirements. My requirement as a client would be different than XYZ company's requirements. If household requirements are different, office requirements are different, institutional requirements are different. So it depends on individual taste and fashion, and that is why they are supposed to render the personalized services to consumers. These are highly localized industries. So whatever trends and fashions are in West Maharashtra probably are not seen if you go to North India, or if you go to uh, maybe Calcutta, or that towards the eastern side of the country. So there would be some change in terms of taste and preferences and fashions, and that is why these industries are highly localized industries, because the skill set of the entrepreneurs, also the skill set of these workers and the one who is running that organization, they are also quite influenced by the local scenario, the local requirements and taste and preferences. Using local resources, MSMEs are decentralized and uh, they are dispersed to rural areas. Now, what do we mean by decentralization? See, these are two concepts: centralization, decentralization. When the power is in, just a example of this could be state government and central government. So central government has the more powers, the ultimate decision making authority lies at the center. States have got the powers, but then their powers or their rules and regulations definitely are at par with central government, but then locally also we observe few changes here and there. So decentralized unit may, each and every unit has got some or the other powers and authorities, whereas centralized unit may decision making happens at the center and others just have to follow the orders. So what we are discussing, MSMEs are decentralized and dispersed to rural areas. These small and medium and micro enterprises are decentralized. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a carpenter who has opened a shop in Pune. I open another branch in, let's say, Faridabad. Then these two units have got nothing to do as such, because though the owner has opened another shop, but then the decisions, the design, the working style is entirely based on the how locally the business they have to run. So definitely it is dispersed to rural areas, and as per the local needs and requirements, the businesses are run, MSMEs are run. They are eligible for government assistance um, for finance by banks and financial institutions. Yes, when you are fulfilling this criteria, you can always get government assistance. They are flexible to a large extent. Why? They are more susceptible to change and highly reactive and receptive to socio-economic conditions. Whenever we say that industries are people driven, no? Individual uh, person who is involved and who is managing, then definitely they are susceptible to change and highly reactive. Whenever we talk of this human factor, definitely change is inevitable, and they are highly reactive and receptive to socio-economic conditions. Any socio-economic change takes place, people are going to react. The workers are going to react. Now, this pandemic again is a socio-economic change, that the migrant workers, just because lockdown announced, they had no work here. So all of them thought of moving to their native places. This is just the example. So this is how a small or a change in socio-economic condition takes place. This is how it affects the businesses. This is how it affects the MSMEs as well. They are free from red tapeism and bureaucratic handicaps. Now, why they are free from red tapeism? Because their functions, their operations are so small that they are not coming under red tape. Red tape किसको बोलते हैं? Any idea? When you put that red tape, anyone? Find out and let me know in next class what do we mean by red tapeism, huh? So I'll explain, but then you have to give me, or you have to come with the answer tomorrow. Red tapeism is like you are putting some restrictions. Now when I'm putting some restrictions, when this comes under we can say under the pressure of local government or under the pressure of state government, huh? Now, when things come under the pressure from the government side or from economic side, when your operations are more, when you are employing more people, जैसे कि strikes and all take place. Now, when strikes and all take place, you have number of employees, and those employees, they come up with some demand. Those demands are not being fulfilled by the management committee, the top management. So what do? They give ultimatum that if you don't fulfill our demands, then probably we'll go on strike. If you don't fulfill our demand, then we'll have to find some ways so that at least you will pay attention to us. So they give first ultimatum, second ultimatum, maybe third ultimatum, and last option which remains with them is closing down of the unit. So they close down the unit, they stop working. What happens at the managing committee level? They think that we'll declare this unit as sick unit or loss making unit and let it get closed only. So this is how these bureaucracy and red tapeism works. I have given you the rough idea. As I said, you have to give me answer to in tomorrow's class. What is red tapeism? So what we are discussing is these MSMEs are generally free from red tapeism and bureaucratic handicaps. I employ less number of people, and if the rapport is good between the employer and the employees, such situations they don't arise. Another reason is that the sector is also kind of volatile in nature. Now, volatile meaning if I am being removed, or if I am being fired from my hmm, job as a carpenter, suppose, there are easily the other options available which I can take the job as. So the attrition rate is high. Hire and fire is also high. People are employed on weekly basis wages like that. So this is the nature of this industry. That is why also we can say that they are free from red tapeism and bureaucratic handicaps. Compared to large units, MSME has a lesser gestation period. That is the period after which uh, the investment starts. Gestation period, we are talking about the investment now. जैसे कि let me give you an example. Investment here in MSMEs we have seen. Now what happens? Usually these MSMEs, after availing the loans, or let's say the financial assistance from the units, from the government or from financial institutions, after getting the financial assistance, no, they immediately start working with, because their investment in plant and machinery is not big, so they don't require the updated machines as well. Updated as in cost wise, their investments are less compared to large units. So because of this, their gestation period of production is reduced. If I have machine, if I want to have another set of lathe machine, I apply for loan, my loan is sanctioned, I get the disbursement of that machine, and I can immediately start, because my nature of work is like that. Whereas in case of larger units, or we can say the large organizations, where the investment in such machines, plants and machines, is quite high. So they require their, it actually increases the processing time. The time I give my proposal, it gets sanctioned, I get money, I pay it to the supplier, he realizes that money, he supplies me the machine is being dispatched, I install, then I need some people, or the technicians, who in turn can give training to the workers who are going to work on that machine, and in this way the production begins. So there is a time difference in terms of installation, in terms of disbursement of the loan and everything which is taking place. That is why it is said that these MSMEs have lesser gestation period. Realization is happening at a faster rate compared to the bigger organizations, compared to the large manufacturers. What are the objectives? So these are roughly, we can say that these are the important characteristics, some of the important characteristics of MSMEs. Then we have objectives. The primary objective of MSME is to play a complementary role in socio-economic setup of the country. MSMEs, they employ the humans. They need human base more than the machines. I have one machine or I have two machines, but then on that one or two machines, I may have 5 to 6 different workers who are working, who are using that machine. So this way, they employ more number of people, they employ more employees or workers, skilled workers, we can say. So it plays an important, a complementary role in the socio-economic setup of the country. Whenever we are dealing with people or these human resources, always the socio-economic setup or socio-economic factors come into picture. So the objectives of MSMEs, क्यों हम MSMEs या small, medium, micro enterprises, why do we have such setup? To provide increased employment opportunities. As this industry, as these MSMEs are people driven, human resource driven, they require more human factor to run the organizations. They have or they provide the maximum employment opportunities. They generate maximum employment opportunities. They also provide production of large variety of goods, especially consumer goods through labor intensive methods. Um, Through this MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises, variety of goods are basically produced, and basically which industry? Consumer goods through labor. Now what are consumer goods? We have uh, classification of goods as consumer goods and industrial goods. So whatever goods are being consumed by the consumers, we are talking about business to B2C category of the products. So which are the ultimate consumer are like you and me. Now that consumption doesn't mean eating. That consumption could be in form of garments, it could be in form of furniture, it could be in form of our, we can say vehicles or automobiles like that as well. So these MSMEs provide production of large variety of goods, especially consumer goods. So we'll find MSMEs basically dealing with consumer goods. Consumer goods classification, if you see, it covers majority of the parts. And that is why it is a people driven, labor intensive industry, we can say. To bring backward areas to into mainstream of national development, I have set up of MSMEs. Now how these things are related to bring backward areas to into the mainstream. Usually we have observed that these artisans from the village are very good in terms of these small things. They are labor driven people. They are not specialized or they are not well educated, we can say. Educated as in they don't have a specific degree as such like BCom or BA like that, but then those are skilled ones. If you observe tailors or carpenters, it is in their families, it is in their we can say in their generations, they have seen how their forefathers are. So automatically those skills are imbibed in these people. They are already, it is in their genes. And where do we find such people? Basically they are found in villages. So these artisans are basically from villages. What happens now? They come to the cities or metro cities, we can say, in search of jobs which they get here, because we require, or the one thing is that they come here in search of jobs. Another thing is the industrial setup is also is in the urban areas. We were discussing MIDCs. So these MIDCs have network of um, basically the provisions are there in these MIDCs for various industries. So the industrial setup is also there in the urban areas. So that is also another reason the artisans from the villages, they come to cities. They are in need of jobs, and the industries are unable to find people locally. So this way, this movement actually brings the, we can say, the development of rural areas. The people are getting jobs here, so they come here, they do their job, they live here, they do their job, and they also send money to the people who are still in the villages. See, we are discussing here just how these points are. तो ये points explain करने के लिए we are discussing this example, whether this movement is right or wrong, or actually what is happening economically or socially, how it is making difference. We are not here to discuss it, but this is how the backward area can be brought into the mainstream areas which will lead to national development. To improve the level of living of people in the country, when people have employment, they have got money. When they have money, their needs and demands and requirements and wants can be fulfilled. So this way, the level of living, or standard of living of the people can also be improved because of MSMEs. Simple reason is they are providing numerous employment opportunities, and they are basically labor intensive and skilled worker incentive as well. To create a climate for the development of self-employed experts, professionals, and small entrepreneurs. Objective of MSME is to create climate for the development of self-employed experts, professionals, and small entrepreneurs. MSME is to portray that those who wish to start their own venture, this MSME can be a good platform. How? That beginning में ही, जैसे suppose another simple example, I passed 9th standard and now I am in 10th standard. I receive or I got some, let's say 70 to 75% marks in my 9th standard. Now, as I enter 10th standard, I, get this message, or my parents tell me that, see beta, some or the other way, you have to secure 95%. Now, how much I have to jump from 75 to 95? So what happens? Probably for me, again, I'm taking my own example. For me, maybe I'll start giving up, because I believe that 95% is something, it will really, something which is really out of this world for me. I simply can't achieve 95%. Maybe if you give me target of achieving 80-85%, I can still manage. Reaching 90 would be my dream, but then securing 95 is simply out of my capacity. So under this pressure, I start losing the hopes of achieving at least 80-85%. मन से मुझे बहुत लग रहा है, I really feel that I should achieve this, but then I know my limitations, I know my weakness, that this is not something which I can do. So I start losing hope. Same thing happens professionally. If an entrepreneur a first generation entrepreneur or a small entrepreneur, in the beginning only, if the picture is portrayed in front of him that, see, if you have to start your venture, the minimum requirement or minimum arrangement of the money for overall setup and everything you require is was at least 2.5 to 3 crores. If I hear these numbers in the beginning, probably what I'll say, forget it, whatever right now I'm doing, I guess I'll continue, because managing 3.5 crores is simply out of this world for me. I'm a person who is going to start, and this much who is going to give me? So my morale goes down. But then exactly this is the objective of MSME, that they create this climate so that the professionals or self-employed experts or the entrepreneurs can begin their ventures. So if I approach, I get to know that even if I invest some 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs in the beginning, I can still be, someone who can start their venture. So no need to have so much of investment in the beginning. Maybe the operations would be lesser or the production would be lesser in the beginning, but slowly and steadily it can be improved. So this confidence or this boost of morale can be, can be given by MSMEs, we can say, to ensure more equitable distribution of national income. So equally, if I have to distribute the national income, then I can do this by way of setting up MSMEs. जैसे मैंने बोला, there are small enterprises or small entrepreneurs also who wants to enter this particular field, but just because I have less capital or I cannot fulfill that requirement, I am thinking of not to enter. But then when MSMEs provide me such platform, that even with this setup of, or we can say, even with this minimum requirement of money also, you can set up your venture. So this confidence can be given by MSMEs, and this way the national income can be distributed amongst the small and the medium level and the giants, giant entrepreneurs like that. It also calls for balanced regional development as regards industries. MSMEs, they ensure that the people from, or the skilled labor gets job at your end. The skilled labor, as we have seen, they come from the rural areas. Guys, 1 second. So these skilled laborers or skilled people, they come from village areas, or they come from, the artisans are basically from rural areas. So they come in search of jobs to the cities or metro cities. And what happens? They are getting jobs here. So this is one side. But now we also have seen that government is also promoting the entrepreneurship, and they are giving some special assistance and incentives to the ones who are ready to set up their ventures into the rural areas. The reason is that only the urban areas or the metro cities are developing or they are growing, whereas the rural area is still underdeveloped. Now uske development ke liye I am promoting that area, and I am giving incentives to the entrepreneurs. I'm telling him or telling these people to start their ventures in rural areas, and the whatever assistance or help is required can be given by the agencies. There are state level agencies, सेंट्रल लेवल एजेंसीज, DICs जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस होते हैं, सीडो जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है, दे आर इन सपोर्ट. सो दिस वे, through MSMEs, even the regional development can also happen. Then we have the advantages of MSMEs. They are relatively environmental friendly. They are generally based on local resources. They employ the people from rural areas who very well know how to utilize the local resources which are available. They provide ample opportunities for creativity and experimentation. People driven organizations where basically the skills are more taken into consideration. So when I have my, when I have to use my own skills, I can very well show my creativity. When I have only to run the machine as a worker, then there is actually no creativity. But when I have a basic machine, and with that help of machine, even just same example of carpenter. So I have to carve something. So that carving, though I have machine, but then I utilize my own creativity. I can show my own creativity while doing that carving part. And also I can do experimentation when I have a small setup, and when that setup is actually people driven. They facilitate equitable distribution of income and wealth. MSMEs enjoy government support and patronage. Definitely the government is supporting MSMEs because they want more and more people. Government wants more and more people to come forward and start such small units. These small units are actually required because they provide the employment opportunities. The bigger organizations, the organization is already set. They have the systems and procedures in place. So they require, or there is very, we can say, little room for incorporation. It is possible to make necessary changes as and when required. Since the setup is small, people driven setup. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When the setup is small, people driven setup is there, and basically whatever employees are there, they are like skilled laborers who can show their creativity, and that is why there is room for experimentation. uh, Changes can easily be absorbed when I have lesser people to manage. But when I have set procedures, when I have set standards which the employees have to follow, then there is little room for experimentation. Big organizational setup है, जैसे कि example of this could be, let's say, ICICI Bank. Even though I have an innovative idea of serving the customers, but then I cannot implement as it is. I have to take approval from my boss, who in turn takes approval from his boss. Then there is a way to follow uh, uh, such changes. If I have to initiate, I have to follow proper guidelines, so which will take probably months or 2 months or 3 months time, depends on how well your idea is and how well you are pursuing that idea. Whereas if I'm working in a cooperative bank, or let's say sir वो जो पतपेड़ी जैसे छोटे छोटे banks होते हैं, if I have an innovative idea to be implemented at such place, see, I have only 2 or 5 people at the max who are there in that particular branch. Or such setups, such cooperative banks, even they don't have many branches. So decision making, जैसे हमने decentralization, centralization देखा था. So decision making can take place at that bank itself. So whatever innovative idea I have, I simply communicate it to the branch manager, who in turn may communicate to the board of directors. One of them would be sitting there itself. He likes that idea, and maybe within 2-3 days, or maybe 7-8 days, in such a short duration of time, that idea can be implemented. So this is the difference between MSME and the set organizations or large organizations. So this is possible here. It is possible to make changes as and when required. There is a close and direct personal contact with the customers and employees. When the same example of cooperative bank, if we take, and the nationalized banks, which we take, comparatively, the cooperative bank, there is a close and direct personal contact. You know the persons very well. They are there for years, we can say, for 5 years, 6 years, like that. The cashier and the branch managers, they are working in the same bank and dealing with same set of customers. So there is this close and direct contact between the customers and the employees, which is not the case in case of large organizations. ICICI Bank I may not be knowing who is a branch manager. And if I know that so and so is the branch manager, by the time I go and see him, probably he might have been transferred to some other branch, or there is someone else who has been allotted the responsibility for that particular day. So changes are happening here. There is no personal contact as such with these bigger branches, we can say. But then there are some disadvantages also of MSMEs. What those disadvantages are? They suffer from lack of funds. They are financially weak. Cooperative bank का example लेंगे तो we see that the setup is like not that great or welcoming like the setup of any private bank. And that is why they are lacking from funds. People are skeptical before investing or keeping their money with cooperative bank as compared to the the how readily people keep their money, people how easily people can open account, or maybe have another, keep their funds with such established banks. So they are always financially weak. They suffer from lack of managerial and other skills. The MSMEs are, though they are people driven, but then the major focus here is on the skills. But those skills are related to my profession. I may be a very good carpenter, but then I don't know how to deal with others. I don't know how to talk to my clients. Now, nobody taught me. What I was being taught as how to run a particular machine, how to carve, how to cut the wood, like that. This is the training which I am received, which or I saw my father and my grandfather how they were doing these things. But then nobody as such taught me the managerial skills or interpersonal skills. To run an organization, these skills are equally important. These skills are equally necessary. Nobody taught me, so I may suffer from not knowing of these skills. And if I have to take the help of experts in this field, again consultants hai, ya fir, such organizations are there whose help I have to take to manage such things. But then I run out of money. I don't find enough funds available to pay those highly paid officials. So this is again the disadvantage of MSME. They always face tough competition from large businesses. Very true, self-explanatory. They are not well equipped to make advantages of latest technology and modern methods. Because of lack of funds, I am not in a position to go for latest technology and modern methods which make my work faster and effective. And by having such things, even I can compete. But then I have lesser money. I cannot put money on these things. So very difficult for me to survive. They cannot survive in times of adversity. They cannot secure cheap credit. There is only a little scope for division of labor and specialization. So basically, funds ke wajah se they are facing lots of problems. And those problems are related to managing the office, surviving in the adverse conditions, difficult conditions. When I have reserves and surpluses, maybe I can use those reserves and surpluses during difficult time. But then if somehow I am managing the business, how can I keep the money separately termed as reserves and surpluses. So I may run out of cash. So it becomes difficult for me to survive in the times of adversity, and such things, such disadvantages are always coming up. So tomorrow we'll see with the problems which are faced by MSMEs and the assistance or subsidy which is available for MSMEs. Hmm. I hope the points are clear. In case of any doubt, just let me know. So that's all for today. We'll meet tomorrow. Hmm. So we are ending our session here today. Guys, am I audible? We are ending our session today. See you tomorrow. Hello.